pounds. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. Let's go. I'm just telling you to fight for your dreams, but it's not what it seems. Man, it's hard to be seen when everybody wants to be king. Yeah, they all want to ring. Yeah, we all want to be free.
What is going on, everybody? We are getting closer to training camp, but guess what? Today is the start of minicamp. So we're going to be talking about minicamp today and other events that we got to pay attention to as we get closer to the 2024 NFL regular season, where hopefully our Detroit Lions will have a Lombardi trophy for the first time ever. That is what we want to do here in Detroit on the fourth year with Brad Holmes. We got close to the got close to Super Bowl, was in the NFC Championship last year. One step closer to making it big and wear that ring and hold that trophy. You got to practice. You got to do mini camps. You got to do training camps. And guess what? Mandatory mini camps, all that. That's where you get your game started for this football team. We got James Janella in the building. Appreciate it. Chrome, what up, Doe? And 9 Drinks, all up in here as well. Thank you guys for joining in for today's show as we talk about mini camp. A lot of camp battles that's going to be taking place. Now, it may not be the biggest, we're not talking about like wide receiver 1, but wide receiver, who's going to be wide receiver 3? Who's going to be the starting quarterbacks? Who is going to impress on the defensive line? Who is going to step up in all the places that we need to step up? And that's what it's all about. Riley Elder in the building. Thank you. So, we look at these camp battles, and I think for me, the most interesting one, obviously, is the cornerback position. Why? Because we got so many different new names in this position group as we completely revamped it from last year because it was booty cheeks. So we need to get better this year. Terry and Arnold, whom we drafted, right now slated as CB1, right? Carlton Davis, who we traded for, CB2 or a CB1. We don't really know. Right? And Meek Robertson coming in here. He's going to be the slot guy. Emmanuel Mosley, he took, 2 snaps? So he's going to be in there as well. And then obviously you got the DBs from the safeties, mixing with safeties and corners like a Brian Branch. A lot to get into for these battles. And I'm super excited to see what happens at the CB position in the offseason right now in mini camps and training camps. That's got to be the most interesting battles that will be taking place is in the secondary because they're all new names. What's up, McDermott, Mr. Michael? What up, Lisa DeLorenzo in the building? Appreciate everybody coming in here. Who do you think is going to be CB1? Is it going to be Terry Arnold? Is it going to be Carlton Davis? Does it really matter? I don't think it really matters who's going to be considered, quote unquote, number 1. I think it's more of the number 3. Like, who's going to come in here? Is it going to be Amik? He's going to take over that slot completely. Ennis Rakestraw, is he going to just be a person who's developed this year and get some sort of playing time throughout the year? How is it going to be? Yes, no fly zone, Douglas. That is 100% is going to be what it is here. And that talks about then the defensive line because the cornerbacks need help, and it's all about the defensive line. You got Broderick Martin looking like a freaking beast, completely transforming his body like Aleem McNeil did the year before. So could Broderick Martin be a huge key towards the cog on this defensive line? I think that he very well could take a significant step forward, understanding what he needed to do with his body and transform himself. I am absolutely sure Aleem giving him some help and how to do that because he was in there, but it's really good to see the players who they know that need to step up. Broderick Martin, he need to get in more physical shape, and he does completely transform his body. It's amazing to see the transformation that takes place here in Detroit where you get a player whom you draft and they come in here and completely transform them from a player, body shape to how they play on the field. Derek Barnes, Aleem McNeil, and you've seen Broderick Martin, Aiden Hutchinson. These guys are just beefing up with the body, and it's really something that we have not seen in Detroit probably ever, right? Remember, we get a guy, we draft a player, and they come here and they don't really improve that much. Or you get a free agent and they don't really do that much. But now you see it with this coaching staff. They know how to prep these players. They know to get the best out of them. And that's why they draft players with the mentality that they want. They want these type of players that will go the extra mile. Again, something that we have never done here in Detroit. Some of you guys have been fans for the Lions for 50 years, right? And you've never seen anything like this. I have never seen anything like this. And it's a beautiful sight to see. It really is. So who's going to step up in the defensive line? Marcus Davenport, significant name we don't really know much about, right? Didn't do anything last year due to injury. But a lot of people like him in the coaching staff. So can the Lions get the best out of Davenport? Can he be that edge number 2? Interesting. Michael McDermott says, what do you think about the Lions signing or trading for Robert Woods? Seeing the article today. Thought about making a video about it. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Not doing it today because I just got done with the graphics and I got to make the video as soon as I'm done. But could the Lions get a Robert Woods? Why not? I mean, they could. I don't think it's going to cost you really much anything to trade for him over there in Houston, Texas. They got Diggs. They got all sorts of good players over there. So if the Lions are trying to get Robert Woods, a former Ram who has significant time with Jared Goff, it would probably be a late round draft pick, a day 3 draft pick, or a player swap. Even though player swap's quite hard to do these days, but I like him to be the best. Robert Woods, he would come in there. Now, look, his production is decreased every year, but we're looking for a replacement for a wide receiver who was just kind of our number 3. We're not looking for a guy who's a number 2. We got Jameson Williams for that. We got Khalif Raymond, who Jared Goff said he is an underrated player that no one talks about, and he's correct. And you got Donovan Peoples-Jones, who we re-signed this year and traded for last year. So that's going to be fun to see the wide receiver battles. Who is going to take that jump? Donovan Peoples-Jones is my guess. Who do you guys think? I think it's going to be Donovan Peoples-Jones. I highly regard Khalif Raymond. The reason I didn't say him is because I have him really highly regarded. I don't see him as a breakout player because I already know he breaks out. He had almost 500 yards last year. Khalif Raymond's been getting it done forever. To me, he's a known commodity. To other people, he's not. Lions fans, we know what he brings here. But, some of the mainstream, they are not the same like that. So I like Arnold's attitude. He actually wants to be the best, and I believe he can 100%. This is why we draft certain players. Mentality. It's not just ability. It's mentality. When you look at busts, generally speaking, it is due to injury or lack of motivation or mentality. All these guys coming in the NFL, the 1,600 that are in there, they all got ability. They all have talent. Can they elevate their talent? Do they think they're at the pinnacle right now and they just don't care? So I think that's really it there. And the Lions, they know that. That's why they get Detroit Lions type of players, dogs. And Terrion Arnold is a dog. And I liked him way before the Lions drafted him. I didn't know if the Lions would be able. I thought they would trade up and get him, and they did. And Terrion Arnold now is going to be a staple for this Lions defense that we haven't had. Staples. You got Ada Hutchinson, staple. Not a lot of staples on the defense. Aleem McNeil, we got to re-sign him to be that staple right now. But he is definitely a good piece. You got Alex Anzalone. Brian Branch, a staple for sure. Terrion Arnold now a staple. So they're building this defense up, and they're trying to get the best out of the players that they can to give Aaron Glenn the best shot to improve this defense, because the defense was booty cheeks. Laporta is a big part of the passing game. We're not as bad as wide receivers most think. Plus, Gibbs catches out of the backfield. We good. We're good. We do need depth, though. Like, there's going to be points throughout the season where you're going to be injury, right? Jahmyr Gibbs was injured a couple games last year. Sam Laporta got injured. So it's important to have the depth there. But I'm with you. I'm not too worried about it. I just want the best depth as humanly possible. In all honesty, when it comes to wide receivers, I think Isaiah Williams, the undrafted, he's going to make an impact in which the likes of people may not understand. I do think he makes the team, and I think he is going to be wide receiver 6 for the Lions, and that'll make up for the loss of Josh Reynolds, in my opinion. I truly do. Sign Mac to a 4-team, $100 million deal. Hutch is not a staple. How is Hutch not a staple? He is a blue chip player. He had 8 sacks in the last 4 games that Aiden Hutchinson played. He had 8 sacks. He is absolutely a staple for this football team. Let's see here. Lions, how many play 2 ways this year? I would say this. You say if Hutch didn't show up in the NFC Championship game, well, then is Nick Bosa a staple? Where was he in that championship game? Aiden Hutchinson's absolutely a staple. Nick Bosa is absolutely a staple, but he didn't do a whole lot. How many players play 2 ways this year? I'll go with 3 players. You got Malcolm Rodriguez, can play both, and I think he's going to be on the team because we didn't pick up a linebacker. So you got Malcolm Rodriguez do fullback as well as linebacker. I think you got players like a Brian Branch who could play safety, linebacker, and nickel corner. Then you got a player like Skip who can play offensive line and kind of like a tight end. So players like that, maybe Sion Vaki, but I think they're probably just going to stick with him as a running back is the way it looks. Kittle and Williams crushed Hutch. I don't think they really did. That's obviously not what Brad Hobbs thinks. So, FGV, do you think that JMO will play a bigger role this 100%? He's going to take a significant role. He's going to be that number 2, folks. I think he had about 350-ish yards last year when it comes to Jameson Williams. I don't have the stats up right now. I think he'll jump to about 900 yards. So that's a significant jump. I think he's going to take a significant jump. Now, if he gets injured, and that goes for any player on the team, injuries are all different, right? If there's an injury, it's obviously going to stop any sort of production that they're going to have. So injury aside, I think he's going to take a significant jump. On paper, we are contenders. On paper, we are contenders, and we are contenders. That's not even just being on paper. We are contenders. We were an NFC championship team last year, and we probably should have been to the Super Bowl. We upgraded the roster in the offseason. You lose Jonah Jackson, you get a better than Kevin Zeitler. You get a DJ Reader who is really good up on that defensive line. You trade for a Carlton Davis, draft a Terrion Arnold, Rakestraw. This team is even better than it was last year. Oh, absolutely amazing what he did here. Let's see. We're in trouble if JMO doesn't play a bigger role this season. He'll play a bigger role. I'm really not worried about it. Now, if there's injuries, I think with Jameson Williams, that would be. Nabosa had 3 sacks in the NFC Championship game. Well, guess what? Aiden Hutchinson had a sack, 2 sacks in both the playoff games that there's 2 of 3 playoff games. He had 2 sacks in both of them. So there are significant. That's a significant production for 2 games to have 4 sacks. Let's see here. Smashed a hole. Who do you think will have the worst record this year? You know what? When I look at the NFL, I think there's a lot of bad teams here, but I think the New York Giants and the Carolina Panthers will take up the number 1 overall pick. One of those 2 teams. I think they're both terrible franchises. I think Carolina's the absolute worst, so they'll probably be the number 1 pick. They have no idea what they're doing over there. They're an absolutely terrible team, and those 2 will probably be 1 and 2. I'll go with Carolina being the first. Man, they're a booty cheeks team, and they don't know what they're doing over there. They're I feel bad for their fans. They got years of suck. When you go to the NFC Championship, how are you not a top 4 team? Well, I think the only way for them to not be a top 4 team if you go to an NFC championship, and I'm not saying the Lions just for any team, I think it would have to be like you lose your quarterback for the year, like right off the beginning, right? So that would really be it to me. Say if we lost Jared Goff week 1, I think for the year, I think that would kind of knock you out as the top 4. But you're right. I think if everything is the roster is generally the same, you're absolutely going to go up there and be another championship type football team for sure. Quarterback is made up stats participation. Texans don't fear Hutch. Well, if they don't fear Hutch, they're not smart. They're really not. If you want to look at the Detroit Lions and you don't want to fear the Detroit Lions, or do you don't want to worry about us, I think that's a mistake that I hope every single NFL team that we face this year does. That would be a mistake. The Lions are a good football team, period. And if you don't want to fear us, that is good for me. I am perfectly fine. Don't fear us. Think that we are not good. And that will be exactly what we want here in Detroit, is to overlook. I don't think anyone's going to overlook us. I definitely don't believe that's going to be the case. Let's see here. Our entire roster has improved. It has improved. I think the only part that hasn't improved as of yet is the kicker position. And we just got to wait for the UFL season to be over, because I do think they're probably going to sign Jake Bates. And then you can have him versus Michael Badgley and see who gets it. But in all honesty, folks, Michael Badgley's not a scrub. He's actually a decent kicker. He's just not the biggest leg in the world. So it's not that big of a deal. Any notable no-shows that we'll expect at OTAs? No, I don't think there's going to be any, unless there is a death in the family or something like that. Literally, you got everybody, right? We signed Penei Sewell, St. Brown, Jared Goff. This team, they'll all be there unless it's a real reason not to be there. Do you think that we have a good player to really help Hutchinson with our D-line? Devin Davis, that is a question that I personally, I am concerned about the opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. I am concerned about that. I really am. Marcus Davenport does not give me a lot of hope. I really hope I'm wrong on him. I think that that is going to be a problem for the Lions, right? Hopefully it's not a problem. Hopefully we're wrong. But I think that is. Joshua Pascal, can he finally step up? Don't really know. We know Lee McNeil, what he can do. We know what DJ Reader can do. It's just that opposite. We really don't know. Is it going to Bates? It's going to be difficult. Absolutely, K-Meat says go Lions. I like Bates and Turner from Michigan also. We'll see. We'll see. Betts is the man. We'll see. Can he come in there and help out on that other side of opposite of Aiden? I couldn't tell you, man. We got minicamp coming up here, and it's what sucks is you can't really judge until training camp, because you can't really do a whole lot of hitting or anything like that. And so from the defensive line, I think from a defensive line perspective, it's really hard to judge right now. We got to be in pads, and we got to see in kind of preseason in training camp. That's really it. So sorry, Mike, I have to disagree. Badgley is a scrub if he can't be a reliable kick over 50 yards completely. And let's look up Michael Badgley's stats and compared to other kickers really quick, because I don't think he's a scrub, but maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. Field goal percentage. He is 100% last year. He was number 1 in the NFL, tied for first with 100% field goal points. He was 86.7 extra points. That's 34th in the NFL, a long of only 41. But remember, in the playoffs, he did a 53-yarder, so that's going to be different. And he only had 25 points, tied for 35th. So look, we don't kick it that much, but he's 100% on field goal percentage. So I can't get too upset about that. I don't think he's a scrub. I think he's a mid kicker. I think he's just like, a 16 to 20s type of kicker. And I'd like to have a guy that can rely on the big leg. That's something that we got to rely on. And with you, Lisa, I agree. I think we do need to have Jake Bates and have that competition to see who can be the kicker, right? And you got the Michigan kicker as well that's in there as an undrafted. Do you think Houston will be a factor this year? Kurt, I hope so. Look, he's healthy, and that's all that matters right now is he wasn't healthy last year. Now, again, he doesn't seem to have great training camps. He doesn't, but it's weird because he's a type of guy that he'll get 15 snaps a game and he'll come up with a sack or two. But he's not great right now in the run stuffing category. So right now he's a 15 snap 15 play type of game each game, and that's not enough. So I'm going to say yes and no. Yes, when he's on the field, he will be, but he's only going to be on there probably 15 snaps a game. So that's not a lot. I trust Brad Holmes. I can only think of one player that Brad Holmes missed on, and Levi would actually show up this season. Oh, yeah. Look, he missed on Levi and Uzurike. With that said, everybody misses. And I don't think anybody probably... Now, look, he had spine issues. They knew about the spine issues before they drafted him. Did they think he probably needed a fusion? Probably not. And not everyone's going to work out. So his hit miss rate is fantastic. So I agree with you. I trust Brad Holmes fully, 110%. He's way better than me when it comes to this stuff. Hands down, it's not even close. It's not even close. He knows what he's doing. That's why I don't get all upset if I don't get the player that I want or the sign a player in free agency that I want. Brad Holmes knows what he's doing, right? He knows his roster, so I just give it to him. Hashtag FG, what game is going to be our most difficult to win this season? Great question, Devin Davis. And I think can I do two teams? Can I do two? And I'll give you different reasons why. One, I'm going to say the Houston Texans. I think they're a magnificent team. I think they're a Super Bowl contender. I think they're a dark horse Super Bowl contender for the AFC. I legitimately think they can get to a Super Bowl. So that's going to be tough because we got to travel there. And we got to travel to San Francisco the second to last game of the year. That's going to be really tough because our bye week is in week 5. So there is a good chance we're going to be beat up, and to travel to San Francisco against another Super Bowl contender is going to be quite difficult. I'll throw in another team in there for a different reason. Dallas Cowboys, because the refs are paid. And I don't even care. They're paid. It happens every time in Dallas, and you got to Green Bay them to win. You have to demolish them to win. And it's to demolish them to win so the referees don't screw it up for you. So, and that's just a fact. I don't care. I don't care what people think that I'm a conspiracy theorist. I have watched a lot of football, and it's crazy how every single time we go to Dallas, there's always something controversial. Front office coaching staff is on point. Great time for Lions fans. Can see a 5-0 start. David Barton, I could see a 5-0 start as well. I could. And that's crazy. I tell you what, we beat Dallas and we're 5-0. I will be doing jumping jacks. Of all the teams we got to face, that's the one I want to win the most because I'm tired of their fans and I'm tired of the referees and I'm tired of Jera and how they get special treatment. It gets old. It gets old. You've seen enough. We have all seen enough. And there's teams or players that get away with this stuff all the time. Tom Brady, right? Aaron Rodgers, the Dallas Cowboys. There's special treatment, and you get tired of that special treatment. And I, for one, am tired of it. Pays off the refs. They control outcome in Dallas. They do. The only way to beat them, Troy, is to do what Green Bay did. That's really it. If it's coming down to referees, it's going to go to Jerry's side. Okay? It's going to go to Jerry's side. You have to demolish them like Green Bay. And shout out to the Packers. Really happy they did that. I was so happy to see them get demolished. It was glorious. Now you look at like you're imagine being an NFC East team. You're a fan of the Washington Commanders, and you're seeing this team, the Dallas, always getting away with it. Kind of reminds you of Green Bay when they had Aaron Rodgers, right? beat them Cowgirls. Absolutely. How worried should we be playing the Bears on Thanksgiving? I'm tired of that game being an automatic loss. We need something about this. James, I'm with you. We got to win. I think we've lost 6 straight years. We got to win this year, period. Tired of it. I think you're tired of it. Everyone's tired of it. Am I worried? No, I'm not worried. I think the Lions are a better football team than the Bears. Honestly, man, Justin Fields, I know he was not a good quarterback for a lot of people when it comes to receptions and stuff, but he was a Lions killer. He was a Lions killer. I don't know what it is, but it was his mobility or whatever. But man, we always struggled against Justin Fields. And so I'm glad he's out of the division. I know Caleb Williams, #1 pick. I know there's a lot of hype going to Caleb Williams, but personally, I don't know. I think we'll be fine. Smash the hole. What do you think from the Tank stays a couple more seasons? Frank the Tank. Oh, Devin Davis. If Frank the Tank could stay not just this year, but next year, that would be huge for the Lions draft, because then you're slowly changing the offensive line without a dramatic change, right? You lose Jonah Jackson, you get a Zeitler. Now you got a guy whom you drafted, Mahogany, in the 6th round, who should have been, in my opinion, probably a 2nd, 3rd round draft pick, who can replace the Zeitler role next year. So we already got a replacement for Zeitler. So you have Taylor Decker, you have the replacement for Zeitler already, and then you'd have Frank Ragnow, and then you got Penei Sewell. So then all you really have to do is, okay, the Graham Glasgow spot. What if Graham does again? He plays another year. Well, then you can draft another guard or a center to wait another year for them to replace a Frank Ragnow, or for them to replace a Graham Glasgow. That's how you do it, slowly but surely. You get that continuity, and it's magnificent. And if he can stay one more year, if Frank Ragnow can hold out this year and then another year, that would spell great news for the Lions. It really would be. And that would be magnificent. I expect him to retire after this year, but if he doesn't, I would be so happy. So happy. He is such a good piece, this Lions team. But look, he's got to do what he's got to do. He knows his body. He's beat up. He's tore up. So look, if he retires after this year, I'm not going to be upset at him at all. I wasn't upset with Calvin Johnson when he retired. Injuries and pain is a big deal, but I really hope he stays. Really do. Wondering if Jordan Love can have a great season, hoping defenses adjust to him. Let's beat them twice. Jordan Love, he's going to have a good season. I think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's no Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers, but he's a good quarterback. They got a good team over there in Green Bay. They do got a good team. They're young and they're developing. I think the defense will adjust to him for sure. I think all defenses adjust in the NFL, and we'll see what he can do. It's going to be like his kind of sophomore season, right? This year, because last year, he had a good year, so we'll see what they can do. But I expect them to be a good team. The Bears beating us on Thanksgiving, stop it. Not happening. Hey, look, man. I remember I was at the Thanksgiving game a couple years ago where the Bears there, and they beat us with Andy Dalton. So, yeah, I hope it definitely doesn't happen. We got to really win that game on Thanksgiving. We definitely got to do. Look, if you got questions, put it in the comment section. I will go ahead and answer them for you. And that's what we're doing right here and getting it done. We are getting it done. So go ahead and put a question in the comment section. Again, we got a lot of battles taking place here. Look at the secondary, probably the most to see the new revamped secondary. I am super excited to see it and very, very happy. Let's see. The NFC Championship was almost Detroit versus Green Bay last year. Definitely are not past the Packers' money. Oh, yeah, we can't look past the Packers. No, I think that's a terrible idea to look. All honesty, you got to keep it 100 with you. I don't look past any team, even if they're a bad team. Look, good teams can have bad games, and bad teams can have good games. This is the NFL. This is not college, where there's a significant difference between college teams. Never look past anybody. And that's how you stay humble and, you do it the right way. You start getting arrogant, as a team, and that's when you fail, right? A couple years ago, we got arrogant past the Carolina Panthers and the bad field, and they smoked us. We can't do it. What's your record prediction? I'm going to go 11 or 12 wins. I'm going to stay with 11 and 12. I know it's not 1, it's 2, but I think 11 to 12 is about where I think the Lions will be. I think they're the better roster, but they also got a harder schedule. What's up, Dr. Detroit in the building? I kind of agree with you. 11 right there. Obviously, Love will end his career in Green Bay with an interception against the Lions. Just saying, I hope so. That would be epic. Kirby Joseph's last reception was, or no, Aaron Rodgers' last pass was to Kirby Joseph. So I like that. And Baker Mayfield's last pass was to Derek Barnes. So I like it when we throw interceptions. This year, we're going to sweep the Chicago Bears. I would love that, Ramdy. That would be awesome. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they are a better team. Their defense is really good. They were good last year. Montez Sweat beeping it up, and they got a good defense there. Their offense, I do think, is better. We'll split, but I hope we do. I'd love to sweep them. Hashtag FGB. How do we always have trouble with mobile quarterbacks? Why hasn't Aaron Glenn planned for them? Devin Davis, that is a question that hopefully maybe gets answered this year. Look, if we have a problem again with mobile quarterbacks, I think Aaron Glenn's done. The NFL is now predominantly more mobile quarterbacks. You're not going to win the league if you don't defend that. You're going to lose. It's just the way it is. We got to be able to prepare for a quarterback run around. We got Brian Branch. You can put on a quarterback. All right. I think we all agree that he's fast enough. He's strong enough. If you were to make him a spy, he'll probably get it done. So, but I don't know. 14-3, but of course, if injuries, not too bad. Yeah, injuries is account for anything, David. So, yeah. So, my record is injuries aside, right? So, that's the same thing. Same with you, but 14-3 would be huge. I heard my coach say that he didn't care if you had 3 toes and 1 butt cheek. He will beat your A. Yes. Yes. I love it. I love that mentality. He's correct. Hashtag Lines, what position group do you think is currently the weakest on our team? I'll go with the edge position. I think it's the weakest right now. Really, I like Aiden Hutchinson, what he brings there. I like Joshua Pascal. I like Davenport. I don't know if I really like him. I'm iffy on him. I don't know. I say I'm less than iffy. I don't think we're weak, but it's the weakest group, I think, of it. Like, if you look at all the depth of this team, it's great. Quarterback depth, perfect, right? You got tight end depth, perfect, right? Offensive line depth, even the backup offensive tackle, backup guards are great. Unlike last year, we had great starters, but our backups were a little bit off. Giovanni Manu, he'll be the backup tackle. Skip, he could be a backup there. I mean, in your guards, shoot, you just drafted one in the 6th round that I think could be a starter. That's your backup. So we're really good right there. Graham Glasgow, your backup center too. So I think we're good there. Wide receivers, and we could use another wide receiver, but it's still a great group, right? It's not that, I say it's one of the weaker groups, but it's not weak. Go to the running backs, great depth right there. Defensive line, besides getting a number 2 edge, a bona fide number 2, the depth is pretty dang good. We just got a question mark about there. Linebackers are fine. The corners are fine. The safeties are great. This team is stacked with a roster. There's just not many holes. They're really, and I don't know if I've ever looked at a team like this and say there's not many holes. And that's just right now. What if Isaiah Williams is what we think he's going to be? He ends up being really good. Then that's not really a weak spot, right? And then what if Marcus Davenport comes out and does his potential? Then it's not really weak anymore. So, but yeah, I'm going to go with there's question marks there. This team is good. I'm going to go Bryce. The Lions going to go 17-0. Man, if they go 17-0, Bob O'Lane, I would lose it. Lose myself, man. That would be epic. They better win a Super Bowl if you're doing that. Our training and medical is great with the Lions. Maybe they can give tips to Davenport if he goes all season, be huge. Yeah, that's my question mark is, can he stay healthy? Will he be productive? That is it. Who is a breakout player? I'm going to go Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think he's going to break out. Look, he only had, I think, a little over 100 yards last year and maybe like 12 receptions, something like that. I think he'll get probably 600 yards receiving. So that's a significant jump to me. To me, that's a breakout. You're going from like 100, a little over 100 to about 600. That's breakout. I think Jameson Williams could break out. He had, I think, about 350 to 400 yards. I think he gets about 900 to 1,000. So that would be a breakout for me. So I'll go with those two players. What up, Shift? Appreciate you coming in here. I think Khalif Raymond should be our wide receiver 3. He catches about everything. He is right now slated as wide receiver 3, and if he is wide receiver 3, I love it. I love Khalif Raymond. I'm a huge fan of Khalif Raymond. Most underappreciated Lion on the team, but I think all our fans love Khalif Raymond. Anybody that watches Lions football loves Khalif Raymond. I would say he would have a breakout year, but I don't expect him to break. That's what I expect him. I think he's that good. He's only 5'8", but golly, he plays great. With a bye week, week 5, and 3 home games first week, total will be 6-0. It's possible, James Janella. I would love to go 6-0. Appears to be the GOAT on my screen. Anthony, that's me on the screen. You're not on the screen. You're the GOAT. I think they need to add one more veteran safety. This roster doesn't really have any weaknesses, Steve-O. They could do that too. I think they could add another veteran safety if they wanted to, and they're out there as well. Lions, if there's an edge on the team you think will have a great year besides Hutch, who would it be? Oh, shoot. You're asking a hard question here. James Houston. I'll go James Houston. Let's see, something about possibly being on the block. Yeah, I heard about that too. Robert Woods. The Lions wanted to trade for him. I already talked about it a little bit earlier. It would be for a day 3 pick, in my opinion. He's had time with Jared Goff. If the Lions feel they need another player, they could make a trade. They could. I don't think they will, but they could. My breakout player, JMO. When I watch Robert Woods get cut, to the 53-man roster, if that happens, you could just pick him up as a free agent if he gets cut. Remember, we got to wait for teams to cut down. If we train hard week 5, catch Dallas, and the polka dots tired AF, we could definitely take the game. I hope so. That's the only positive about having a bye week is at week 5 is you play the Cowboys week 6. So you can prepare for that team. Khalif will sign a 3-year, $33 million deal with the Jags next year. The Jags would be smart if he became a free agent, any team would be smart to get Khalif Raymond. I don't know if people value Khalif like we do. I just think it's more of the system. I think it's Jared Goff and him been on the same page since day 1. He's fast. Any team that would look to get a Khalif Raymond as a wide receiver, if they were to if another team poaches him, I'll be the first one to go to that team and be like, you guys got a stud. Even though you don't know Khalif Raymond, you guys got a stud. Because I could see a team be like, or their fans be like, oh, we just got this Khalif Raymond guy. He's a nothing burger. And I'm like, no, he's not. He's good. Jack Fox is extremely underrated. He's the best punter in the NFL. Spot on. Post-June, first cuts, absolutely shift. Absolutely. And we're getting really close to that. Those sons of something refs, why isn't the NFL doing something about it? Because the NFL doesn't care. That's why. They are making their money. They could make refs full-time, but they don't want to do that. Why? A multi-million-dollar business where one of the biggest parts of this business is probably the least amount you got to spend, but the biggest end result of a game, and that's referees. These guys don't get paid much, maybe $100,000 a year. They have a significant outcome of the game. It is ridiculous to me that they're not full-time. It is absolutely ridiculous that they're not full-time. To me, it's the NFL wants it this way. Seriously. You pay Roger Goodell buku money. We're talking like $500 million, but you can't have full-time refs. And these guys get paid $100,000 a year. Give me a break. It's definitely more than a coincidence that all our games against Dallas are determined by a dirty official. Yeah, it's not a coincidence. It's it's bias, and that is the truth. And I don't care what people think. It's the truth. It is now happened every single time. I have watched it. We have all watched it. If you're a Lions fan for many years, we have seen it. That's what happens over there with the refs. If you want to beat Dallas, you have to smoke them because they do cheat over there with the referees. And guess what? My guy Tom Downey over there, Dallas, for Chat Sports, I'm telling you the truth. It's truth. You can either take it or not. Fox is one of the best special teams players. Agreed. The underrated statement. Bingo. BS. Yes, everybody knows that. What team other than the Lions will surprise in the NFC? Atlanta Falcons. I think Atlanta is a team that's going to win their division, and they're really good. Their offense is ridiculous. Kirk Cousins, who is a good quarterback still. I know he had the injury. Good quarterback. Okay. Bijan Robinson. He's a good running back. Kyle Pitts, a really good tight end. All right. They turn around and they got Drake London over there at wide receiver. That is a good offense. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. They'll win their division. And I think I'm going to take a guess. We'll see them in divisional round instead of seeing the Buccaneers. The Atlanta Falcons will have to come to Detroit. I think that's what it's going to be. In all honesty, the Atlanta Falcons will be coming to Detroit. I think the Falcons are better than the Dallas Cowboys. I think the Falcons are better than the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't think they're better than the Lions. And I think San Francisco is better than the Falcons. So I probably go with Lions, San Francisco, the best NFC teams, probably Atlanta, Dallas, Philly, kind of in that mix, kind of go like that. You could put Green Bay up there too. The Green Bay is a good team. A lot of good teams in the NFC now. You know, they always talked about how the AFC was the strongest conference. That's not the case anymore. I think the NFC is stronger. Look, if the Lions go to the Super Bowl, we beat Kansas City. Okay. You look at the AFC, you got the Baltimore Ravens, who I do think is really good. Kansas City Chiefs. I think they're good. I don't think they're really good. I think a lot of people, I think they kind of got lucky, man. I do. I really do. They got lucky. I don't think they're the best team in the AFC last year. I think the Ravens, even the Ravens lost to them because they can't beat a playoff. They can't win a playoff game. Kansas City beat them because they suck in the playoffs. That's the Ravens or Lamar does or whatever. But I think the NFC is a better conference now. I mean, look at this. Lions, San Francisco, Dallas, Philly, Atlanta. Those are all good teams. You look at the AFC, Kansas City, right? You got, I think the Miami Dolphins are a good team, but they're not good in cold weather. They're a finesse team. Anybody that tells me different, you know what the Miami Dolphins remind me of? The 2011 Detroit Lions. They're a finesse team. They're not a team built for the road. They're not a team built for the cold. So I think they're good. I don't think they're great. I think they're good. You look at the rest of the AFC, the Bills, I think they're taking a step. I think their window's closed. They're going in the wrong direction here, right? Houston's a great team. I'll put Houston as number 1, Baltimore as number 2, Kansas City number 3 in the AFC. I don't think I think people will think that's controversial. I don't think so. I think Houston Texans are the standard right now. They are the Lions of last year. And if people sleep on the Houston Texans, that's a mistake. It's a mistake. So I think the NFC is better division this time around. We got cheated at Dallas ever since Stafford pretended to spike the ball and jumped across the goal. Yeah, that was a great moment. I know there's people that like Stafford, hate Stafford. That was one of the best moments, at least as a Lions fan, that I've ever had. Him jumping over the line, if you need to throw the ball, throw the ball. I like that. Him pounding a Tennessee Titan down, run him over. That was my favorite Stafford moments. I'm sorry, though, Staff. Jared Goff's giving me more moments that I like. When Stafford retires, we can do a tribute when he retires. And he can retire to Detroit Lion. With that said, I like Stafford when he's done the NFL. I'm not a fan of Stafford right now, honestly, because Jared Goff's my quarterback. And I really don't look at Stafford anymore as like the former Lions quarterback. I kind of think that story is kind of done now. I think with Jared Goff beating them in the playoffs, that kind of, that pretty much ended it for me, right? Like, I'm not, even if we're to lose this game, it's, Stafford got the revenge. really don't think so. I think, you know, because we faced Stafford. Jared Goff went to LA. That was year one. And then we faced him last year. We'll face him this year. So, I mean, at some point, the narrative kind of gets a little bit old. And, you know, I think it's over with. I know the fans are going to boo Stafford when he comes out there and all that type of stuff. And that's cool. I wish they would boo everybody. But for me, it's kind of over with. I got no hate for Stafford anymore. Why do we play in Dallas every year? I don't know. You notice, Troy, that we face you know what, Bradley? We're going to get to that second. I think it's more of his wife is more the issue than Stafford. Let's keep it 100. Stafford's not really controversial. His wife is. Why do we play Dallas every year? I don't know. Why do we face Seattle and Dallas every year? Why? I don't know. It's becoming almost like an NFC North type of rivalry because we're facing these teams every year, Seattle and Dallas. Holy God, can we get a break from facing the same teams every year? Tired of facing Seattle. And I want to face Dallas just because of what happened last year. But I'm with you, man. It gets old. It gets old really quick. Folks, I've been on for about 45. I actually got to go and leave my house soon. Got to go and help out with my girlfriend kids. So I'm going to jump off here. I got to create a video. I'm going to be dropping a video on my personal channel in about 15 minutes. It's going to be released. So get ready for that. With that